Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Pastor Larry. Already Wednesday, September the 1st. Hard to believe, but here we are, rapidly approaching the final quarter of 2021, and here we go. I just wanted to come to you today and bring you a little bit of encouragement, I hope, and something that will give you something to pause and think about as you make your way through your day. Peter said this in 1 Peter 2, verse 9, familiar scripture if you've been around church for a while. Maybe for some of those of you who are new, you haven't heard this as much. But growing up, this was one of the scriptures I heard a whole lot. But it says this, but you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people, that you may proclaim praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, who were once not a people, but are now the people of God, who had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Jesus said, for those of you that didn't have, now you have. For those of you who were not, now you are. And not only are you a people that have been called out, but you are my own special people. A royal priesthood, a peculiar people, a chosen generation. You're the people that I have set my mark upon. And watch this, as believers in our world, we are people upon whom the mark of being a Christ follower is supposed to rest. And I began to think about, man, what does it look like to be a Christ follower in our current culture? Seems like everywhere you turn, cancel culture is taking over. It seems like everywhere you turn, people are trying to silence you for what you believe or what you want to stand for, or what you say is truth. And listen, I'm going to tell you this, truth doesn't have a side. Truth is Jesus. That's all there is to it. You can't bend and flex him to match your truth. You have to align your life with his truth. You have to align your life with what is truth, and then that truth will set you free, and grace will allow you to step up and be able to do and to be what you could not be without him. That's why he came. And so, we can argue all day about what I think is right, what I feel is right, what I believe, what this, that, and the other. But the truth is, I have to line my life up with him because he is the standard. He is truth. So if I'm going to live a life for Christ in this world, what does that look like? It means that I've got to be willing to invest myself in people who are hurting. And guess what? I can't side with people who are hurting and not sometimes feel the hurt myself. I've got to be willing to champion love in a world that only knows how to hate. Because when you champion love in this kind of world, you're going to be hated for that. People aren't going to want you to talk about that. People are going to want you to choose a side. People are going to want you to hate their enemies. People are going to want you to stand with them. But we have to choose love, and sometimes choosing love means that we will be hated because we live in a world that's consumed with hate. We can't stand here as Christ followers and challenge the world to change if we are not willing to change ourselves. We've got to accept the challenge. That's what it looks like to be a chosen people, a special people, a peculiar people. That when I am faced with the challenge to change, I don't run from that. I don't try to find a way around it. I rise to the challenge and allow my life to be changed, because if I want others to change and I want others to follow me, I have to be willing to accept that challenge as well. It also means that I can't ask other people to sacrifice and not be willing to sacrifice myself. That's what it looks like to be a Christ follower. That's what it looks like to be a royal priesthood, a chosen generation, a special people. That's what it looks like to be called out of darkness into marvelous light. What does that look like? It looks like living a completely different life. It looks like my life has made a complete 180 and I'm facing a different direction and I'm going in a different path because something has happened in my life that has brought about radical change and transformation. And that change and transformation is I have been brought out of darkness into marvelous, not just into light, but into marvelous, unparalleled light. I have been brought into a world to where everything looks different because the light has shined upon who I am and who he is, and who he is greater than who I am. And so I need to follow him, and following him means that sometimes I'm not the most popular person. Sometimes I don't go along to get along. Sometimes I stand for what is right and righteous and real. Sometimes I have to make up my mind that I'm going to be hated. I'm going to be challenged. I'm going to have to sacrifice, and I'm going to have to change. But if I will follow through with him calling me out of darkness, I will find mercy. Those of us who didn't have a life before him suddenly find life with him. That's what we're wanting to show people. I'm not interested in showing people how moral I am. I'm not interested in showing people how marvelous I am. I want people to know that there is a change that you can make in your life. You may not receive it today. You may not accept it today. You may not like what I'm saying today, but let me plant the seed and show you that there is a life that you can live that is radically different than the one you're living now. And the life that you can live with Christ is the life that you and I were really, really meant to live. I want to challenge you today. Don't succumb to the pressures of the age that we're living in. Don't succumb to the culture that we're living in. You don't have to be enemies with everybody. You don't have to believe everything that is told to you. You don't have to accept everything and every agenda that is pushed upon you. It is still possible. Why? It's still possible to live righteously in this present world. You know why? Because the righteous one is living in you. It is still possible to be a witness in a dark place. It is still possible to make a difference with your life. You know why I know that? Because that's what he told Peter. I've called you. I've called you. I have called you. I have called you out of darkness into marvelous light so that you can proclaim my praises. If God has done anything for you, don't be silent about the change in your life. But Larry, I don't want to be hated. I don't want to be challenged. I don't want to have to sacrifice. Then you really haven't caught the message, because anybody that is going to follow Christ knows that somewhere along the way, I may be challenged. I may have to hurt sometimes. I may have to sacrifice sometimes. And I'm going to definitely have to love in a world where what I'm saying and what I'm standing for and what I believe is hated. But I believe if I proclaim his praises, a light will shine in a dark place and people will see the glory of God. I challenge you today, stand up and shine for Jesus. You've been called out for this purpose. Now is your time. Listen, I want you to join me tonight. We're continuing our series on Wednesday nights right here in the house, 2223 West Morton Street. Better decisions, fewer regrets. We're asking another question tonight. We're going to answer another question tonight. I want you to be here 7 p.m. Bring a friend, bring your family. Let's join together. Let's worship for a little bit, then let's sink into the word and see what God is speaking to us in this season. Go be a light in somebody's world today. The Lord bless you.